What is up, YouTube? This is EbenMagician34, and I'm bringing you a deck I took to my local tournament today. It was a Mega Gardevoir Fairy deck. I'm going to say from the outset that I kind of had most of the stuff for it, but I kind of wanted to run 3-3 of Mega Gardevoir and regular Gardevoir EX, but I didn't have it, so I ran 2-2, and I made a few little changes here and there to try to make it work. So I'm going to go through the deck list. And I'm going to tell you kind of what worked, what didn't work. I got second place for whatever that's worth. But obviously, like I just said, 2 Mega Gardevoir. It's Brilliant Arrow is the whole point of the deck if you're not familiar. You use regular Xerneas as Geomancy, drop a bunch of Fairy energy out, and then Brilliant Arrow for like 180 or more as long as you get 6 or more energy on your whole field. So it's not too hard to arrange actually, which is pretty cool. 2 Gardevoir EX to help make that happen. And because we're pretty good at searching things and like getting our start up, 3 regular Xerneas. I think this is fine. The 3 because it's not, you really don't need it past those first few turns. But Rainbow Spear does answer like safeguarders and stuff like that, so it's not completely dead in the late game. It can still do some tricks. But obviously it's best in the early game for going Geomancy. We're running 2 Aromatisse and 2 Spritzy to get them up, because you really only need just the 1, but you don't actually have to have, if you place your energies well, you don't actually have to have Aromatisse to win. It's not as important as it was in like the day when you were running like 4 Rainbow, 4 Prism kind of thing. The remainder of the deck was 1 Florges EX, which I was actually kind of shaky about when I built the deck, but I actually found it to be quite useful. I was surprised how much I liked it. The Bright Garden, 2-hit KOs pretty much anything. And occasionally when I'd get like really bad hands or something like that, you know, I'd draw or get end into a really bad hand and I was kind of jammed up, something, you know, there was a problem, I could free treat with Fairy Garden, bring this up, and I could use lead to go get the supporter, either forcing an end from my opponent to potentially draw me new stuff anyway, or finding me the specific supporter I need to sort of close up the game or redraw and get back in or whatever. So I actually liked the 1 Florges EX. I think that was a worthwhile addition. Xerneas EX, I was running 1 as well. He's okay, but in a lot of ways he didn't really pull his weight most of the time. I think it's not that he's bad. I think it's just that I would much rather have had the Mega Gardevoir and the extra Gardevoir EX in his place, is kind of it. So not bad, just not good enough. Similar kind of story goes from Mewtwo. I kind of wanted him so that I could quickly switch a million energies onto him and, you know, KO something with X-Ball. But he always seemed to be like 30 or 40 points short of KO. He just didn't quite have enough ammo on him. So I think in some ways I probably could have, once again, made better use of this space. There aren't a lot of matches where he gets, like, you know, to take advantage of type matching or anything, like on weakness, to really make him worthwhile. My last Pokemon was a Reshiram. This was for Virgin or Metal, because you can power up his Outrage really easily, and he can do a lot of damage there. And you can use him to chump block if you need to, take a little damage, and then go from there. In retrospect, though, I'm not really sure if that's not really prevalent in your area. It's not worth running. At a larger tournament, who knows? But I think probably he could have afforded to have dropped 2 to have tightened up the deck a little bit. As far as supporters go, 4 Juniper / Sycamore, but it's Juniper if you're me, and I'm me. So I don't have any problems with that. 4 Ends, because you do a lot of setup in the early game where you don't do any attacking, so this basically draws you 6 a lot of the time, and that's quite good. And any opponents who take early leads on you, you can use it to punish them for their prizes, and that was of course quite solid too. I had 3 Skyless because this gets you Ultra Balls and it gets you Gardevoir Spirit Links and stuff like that. And really I didn't have a problem with the 3 Skyless either. I thought it might be a little much with our card drawing power, it might be redundant, it might give us hands full of supporters where like they're not really necessarily doing a whole lot for us, but it actually played out alright, so the 3 Skyless wasn't really a problem. We have heavy bench investment, so Colress was never a bad thing, and he's a good versus secret target, of course, but we power up our bench pretty quickly, so I thought that wasn't bad at all. The 1 Lysander, pretty obvious, and of course it's wonderful with Mega Gardevoir to just pull up something they're trying to build up and instantly KO it, so they can't chump block you quite as easily. Teammates was a little suspect, actually. I was thinking, you know, we've got some one-hit KO Pokemon, like, you know, regular Xerneas, and if your opponent calls up the Aromatisse for a quick knockout, then this is a great thing to to try to capitalize on that and go search up for 2 cards and put yourself in a really good position. However, I think overall I think in a lot of decks, if you don't have a lot of one-prize knockouts, I'm starting to really reconsider teammates, which is good. You know, you need to always think harder about what you play. And I think, in retrospect, teammates might have served me better as a Pokemon fan club in this deck, maybe, to just kind of thin the deck and really help us set up pretty uniformly in the early game. So maybe it would have been better that way, maybe not. But food for thought on that one. It might have been better as another card. And I did opt for one Lysander's Trump card, because once our Fairy Energies hit the discard pile, it's not very good for us, and this cycles them back into the deck. And of course, it can also recycle Spirit Links and Gardevoir pieces and stuff like that if that's what we need. I didn't regret this card, but honestly, in some ways, I kind of feel like maybe I didn't need it. That's kind of a question mark too, but maybe this and the teammates could have turned into 2 fan clubs. Kind of hard to tell, and it's going to take a little more testing to know for sure. But yeah, once again, this is just food for thought. This is a learning experience. Now, as far as the items go, we're running 2 Gardevoir Spirit Links. Because we're running a 2-2 line, so this makes sense. And we could always run a third if we go for a third when we change the deck up. I went for 3 Fairy Gardens. Honestly, a 4th wouldn't have been bad because this is so crucial to the deck to help free treat and keep control of our field. So, but it was always a nice card to have. I opted for Computer Search as our ace spec because we do like to assemble megas and things like that, and we really want to make sure Xerneas goes off on our first turn, so this is really helping us search and maintain consistency, which is very important to us, because we like to... in some ways, it's kind of a combo-y deck. We have 3 Ultra Balls to help us set everything up, get Aromatisse, get Mega Gardevoir, etc. The discard's kind of painful on this card, but it's really just the most versatile way to go get a Pokemon from the deck, so it was still just the logical choice from what's out there. We run 1 Professor's Letter, Skyla Target to help us make sure we have the energy in our hand, because we don't like to miss energy drops too much. And Geomancy does get us a lot of energy, and we don't want to thin our deck out of energy too much to make our Geomancy fail. But at the same time, we want to make sure we actually get to fire our Geomancy, and the energy we play from our hand, of course, combines with Geomancy to help us keep our field saturated with Fairy Energies for Mega Gardevoir. We have 2 Max Potions, because with Aromatisse, obviously, this can profit us very heavily. Quite a good card. It's a great way to recover lots of damage. I ran this tool because I did the calcs, and I didn't think Muscle Band really, that extra 20 points gave us any KOs we didn't already have, or turn any 2-hit KOs into 1-hit KOs, so I opted for Hard Charm. Because it helps deny opponents KOs, because it turns our 170 HP Pokemon into 190s, essentially. And it turns Florges into a 180 Pokemon, and it makes Xerneas early game quite durable. So I opted for this, and I never really regretted it. In fact, there were times I actually kind of wanted another, that I didn't get it frequently enough. So that was a good option, and I think I like that. If I come back to fairies later, I'm going to be interested in running maybe 3 charms. 2 versus Seeker, we don't desperately need any specific supporter very much to make the whole deck like it has to have it to work. But late game, obviously, for Lysander and potentially for a powerful Colress, it's definitely nice to have. I did opt for 2 switches just because even though we have free retreat, which is very good, this basically protects us from statuses like sleep and paralysis, which are... paralysis isn't too common, but as long as Hypnotoxic Laser is around, sleep can be a thing. So switch is a nice defense against that we can go Skyla for. And energy-wise, we're running 12 Fairy Energies. And that's basically the whole list. So it's a very good deck, and I've seen other builds of Fairy that are running more dedicated lines, which are very powerful and very successful, and I saw that potential. And while I think this deck is on the right track, some of the changes I outlined, that's worth doing. So yeah, I would recommend this as a very good deck. This is what I've got here. This list is a good starting place, but I shared this list partially because... yeah, a lot of times I think people kind of see YouTubers, and maybe some of them are, of such a mindset that they think, oh, well, I'm the implacable authority, I think I'm always right, this deck list is the best. And for me, I'm imperfect, I'm never going to be the best player ever. I know a lot, I've played for a long time, but this is a learning experience, not just for you, but for me too. And I feel like if I could stand to learn from this, I can share that. Maybe you can learn from some of the things that I notice, and I can grow from that the same way that I grow when I watch other people's videos. Maybe sharing with you guys helps me grow and become a better player too. So, anyway, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more Pokemon content.